This is NDTV and you are watching NDTV Prime.
The 8th Annual Convention of National Association of Realtors India, hosted by Associations of Property Professionals Delhi, became the biggest realty event in India. The event, which was hosted in the national capital Delhi, brought together industry leaders and realty experts from across the world.
It's my privilege and honor to welcome you all to the NAR India 8th Annual Convention, New Delhi. I hope you enjoy the show as much as we have enjoyed putting it together for you.
The annual conventions are our way of celebrating organized reality every year. This is the 8th convention. 8 years ago, few people decided that we need to organize a highly disorganized sector in this country. We, as an association, have always tried to bring the best of the world, whether it be practices, whether it be processes, protocols, to our country.
One of the key things we want to do, therefore, is to make sure that each one of us has something aspirational. Gone are the days where brokers in India were looked down upon and said, he's a broker. Then people said he's a real estate consultant. So we're doing an image makeover here at NAR India.
NAR India, the single national level organization, aims at changing the country's skyline by elevating the standards of practice of the real estate brokerage business to a global level where ethics, transparency, accountability, rule of law and good governance prevail. India is being described by the many as the most exciting real estate market in Asia.
Housing is a very important requirement of every person in the world. The real estate industry is actually associated in creating shelters for millions and millions of aspirants to have shelter.
This is a platform for not only people who are participating as a delegate, but this is an opportunity for all those people who are sitting outside. So the entire effort has been put in to appreciate, to acknowledge and to gain knowledge in how we proceed further in the market, in the industry, and made it more powerful.
The two-day power-packed event included engaging and enlightening lectures, expositions, panel discussions and brainstorming sessions for over 1,200 realtors, developers, investors, corporate real estate heads and many more.
So it's a very important topic which we are discussing today, Real Estate Regulation Act. As we all know, it's just around the corner, and in near future, it will be there to help safeguard the consumers' rights and also the developers. So first of all, I would like to ask Mr. Verma that do you think the real estate regulator will help the industry as a whole and even the consumer? Is it strong enough?
It will help, certainly. It is strong enough. In some areas, it is extra strong. We, for example, do not agree with the penal provisions of the Act, which are against the law of natural justice, because we get at the most 2% for our services, and the penal provisions are 5% and 10%. So we will continue to lobby against that. But otherwise, we think it's a great bill. It will bring transparency and accountability into the industry. In the short term, while we adjust to the provisions of the Act, have the policy frameworks at the developer level and at our level, we think that the Act is going to be very good, but it will take about 3 to 5 years for the Act to completely come into force.
I would like to come to you, Sam. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it? And was it warranted the unstructured real estate to become structured, because there are many issues which are coming up in front of media also the developers are facing and even the buyers are facing. So will it be taking everybody, every stakeholder along this bill?
So for one, I have a little difference of opinion. I think on a scale of 1 to 10, I will give it a 10. And the reason is very simple, that, it's the initiative of getting an act through. The Income Tax Act, how many times does it get repealed or changed, or, there's the new additions every year, which means that what came out in the first year, say in 1961, and what's happened in 2016, every year there's a change. So the first thing is you sow the seed and start something. So irrespective of what the quality and content is, the first great thing is we must applaud ourselves, each one of us, every stakeholder, whether he's a government institution, a developer, realtor like us, or the customer. We've all pitched in to make sure there's an act. Now the second level is that how do you make it into a more effective act? How do you give it teeth? So I would actually say that there is teeth, but there's not enough teeth. And the teeth will come in when the state level changes are made, when the implementation happens at the state level. So these are the basic things as far as the rating is concerned. And of course, over a period of time, if there are penalties for the realtors, yes, we want to get that out. If there is imprisonment to somebody, we want to make sure that there are things that are sorted out in it. And there are various connotations to the act. Each stakeholder looks at it differently. But the first big thing is that we have an act in place.
Mr. Ashwinder Singh, do you think that the buyers, if you talk about the buyers, will the developers will be held accountable now? Will there be more transparency in the system? Will there be?
See, obviously it has been done just to bring more transparency in the system. We keep on saying that the markets are down. We keep on saying, we are going through a slow phase. The issue is that the client has stopped taking decisions. Now the customer has suffered in certain cases. And this is a chain reaction, and that is where the sentiments come down. So an act like this is just to build confidence and say that, look, things can't just keep on happening haphazardly. There has to be a structure. There has to be a model around which, the entire stakeholders have to operate.
Talking about Delhi NCR, for example, do you think the situation will improve and the rules will be out soon? They have to, but the state has not taken any action as of now. Do you think certain states will go back to the square one route and then they will decide when they will come out with certain rules?
See, Delhi is a little different issue. Delhi is actually, although you call it a state, but it works like a union territory. And in Delhi, the rules are already out.
I'm talking about NCR, the UP market, the Haryana.
What I'm saying is that the rules are already drafted by the Ministry of Urban Development and Housing. And those are already out for discussion, and they're there. But I think all the states will have to come out with their rules very soon because there's a time limit. And that's the beauty of this act, that most of the issues are based on a time limit. If they are not brought out, then there could be certain consequences or deemed approval. The concept here is a little different. I just want to add to what my panelists added. See, there are billions and billions of dollars of money which is likely to be invested in our real estate sector and the construction sector in the next 10, 20 years, with so many schemes coming, the smart city, etc., the industrial corridors. But if there is no transparency, if there is no standardization, you will never get that confidence into the market, even if the chips are down. Today, maybe the chips were down in the securities market, but having the SEBI there as a regulator, it gives confidence to the common man sitting that he can invest in the mutual fund and will not be, robbed out of it.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me on this very important discussion on RERA. I hope all states soon come out with their drafts and stakeholders are taken care of. Whosoever is involved, their interest is taken care of. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me on the stage. A big round of applause for all the panelists. Welcome back to NAR 8th Annual Convention. And the next topic is a very important topic. Is the market picking up pace or still it's in slowdown? Mr. Farooq Mahmood, I would like to ask you now, the current scenario, the kind of policies the government has come in the recent past, the policies which have been announced, for example, GST passage recently, REITs, and even the RERA. Would you think now it's the right time for the buyers to come and invest, and buyers are investing, or the end users are coming to the market now?
Thank you. I think it is the best time right now because India has opened its doors. There's a lot of transparency in the markets. The new act, the RERA Act, protects the consumer. It gives it used to be a toothless tiger earlier. There was no transparency, but now it gives a lot of transparency to the whole business. I think this is the right time we can say that you can call real estate and give it the industry status at this point in time because of the positive things that are happening. Second, as far as the markets are concerned, different cities in India have different issues. There are issues of excessive inventory in certain cities. There are issues of shortage of commercial space in certain cities. So I would say if you take an overall picture, it's not as gloomy as it sounds, but I think, speaking for the Bangalore market, commercial space, we have a lack of supply there. There's a tremendous amount of demand.
Okay, as far as the current ground situation is concerned, Chanakya, just to add to what Farooq ji just said, wherever you have ready-to-move inventory, there I don't think there is too much of a challenge because the end-user market definitely exists. And end-user market is of two types. One is the first mover who's moving into his house, and the second one is the movers who are upgrading their lifestyle. So definitely that market exists. As far as the new people moving in are concerned, you have to make it attractive for them. Now, how you make it attractive for them varies from market to market. Of course, the luxury market remains majorly immune to these ups and downs, because of which I think we've seen a lot of success in Shimla and also in Greater Kailash. And, there are certain pockets where if I don't pick it up today, it will not be there tomorrow.
Okay, so Mr. Vivek Sachdeva, do you think the market is following the current trend of making the right product for the right audience?
Let me be very honest. Had that been the case, we wouldn't have been into this situation. We have to accept it very bluntly. Whether we should or no, that's a different thing. I'm going to use a very cliche thing. We have to be on the basics. And frankly speaking, if somewhere we are saying 52 months of inventory is there, somewhere we are saying 70 months. But there are some products which have an inventory level of just 6 to 8 months. We just get biased by the numbers of the average. The average appears to be on the higher side. But when we have to look at it from the holistic perspective, there are always something which are beyond the mean and something which are below the mean. So considering that, I believe the time has come when we have to go with the very basic. It's a very cliche thing. Everybody says this. Even a kid says, I have to do the basic things. But I think this is the right time.
And now I would like to come to you, Mr. Kathuria. There is a notion that when the property market is down, property prices also come down to raise demand. But we have seen markets like NCR, even the prices have crashed or have come down or the negotiations are happening. Still, the demand is not much, which was anticipated. What's the problem?
Well, the demand is there. If the statement, I would like to correct you, saying that there is no demand, there is huge demand. The trust is gone. The problem is with the trust. People have not delivered for years together. Everybody's tried to put in their hard-earned money with good brands, and they haven't seen delivery on site. So, real estate being a very capital-intensive industry, if you want to buy a good product, nothing comes below 50, 60 lakhs, a crore of rupees. Everybody's scared. There is a fear in the market. That's the reason we feel that there's no demand. There is huge demand. There is a whole lot of money in the market. People are geared up to buy. But somehow, I think the collaboration of realtors, builders, financial institutions together will have to think of some scheme where confidence can be restored. I think that is the key point.
Okay, Mr. Bhatia, what's your take on this? At which stage do you think the property market is at right now?
As Sanjeev ji said, the most important thing is trust. Earlier, there used to be a blind mentality of, investing your money anywhere. You just get to know that some project has been launched, you put your money, and you just wait for it to grow. But now they have become, very discerning. There are now a number of forums which have come up. So even if we offer, as a realtor, if we offer a project to a client, they do their homework, they look around, they find out, and they put their money only where they have trust that their delivery will be on time. Secondly, they have started asking questions on the other aspects. Like earlier, there was no definition of a super area. Now, as Farooq said, with the advent of the RERA Act, so now they have all, even though the act is not yet, it's not in every state, but the consumer wants the developer to follow the rules of the act immediately. So they are asking us questions about the terms of the agreement, the terms, the super built-up area, and how much money will be invested in the project, how much will be, will be diverted to other projects, and what are the penalties for delivery. So yes, it's a phase of consolidation. I feel with the Modi government taking a lot of interest in the infrastructure, with the advent of this bill, there'll be a lot of transparency in the sector.
Okay, with that note, we would like to wrap up. We just hope that the sector bounces back very soon and interests of all the stakeholders are taken care of. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. That's it from here.
One of the most important person is the customer. If customer is not there, whatever we have been discussing last 2 days, whatever structure developer is creating, I think we can't do anything. So most important thing is the customer. And if we really look at last 2 decades, customers have changed almost 360 degrees. As a real estate company, adopting all the technologies and the change which is happening day to day. And in terms of customer, this is the only industry where every customer is different. So we as a realtors, we have to change daily. We have to be prepared to adopt the changes which can give the maximum customer service in this industry.
In a developer sale, usually there's only one side which pays you the commission, and that is the developer. Kunal, how do you think over the years this aspect of real estate, is it challenging?
If you actually ask me, the brokerage which is set for any project, is set on a tone that it should be given to the realtor, to the broker. It's his service for which he is getting the fee. If you personally ask me, it should not be in any case passed back to the customer. That should be the ideal way of doing business. For you to give service for those 3 years, 4 years, 2 years, whatever the period is, you need that kind of money. You would support him, you would be with him throughout the journey. It's not just a small transaction which is happening.
The entire concept which I understand about this customer service, it really begins, as a realtor, what I can say, it really begins when the first time you interact with your customer, your client, and when he's trying to explain what exactly his or her requirement is. In case we are not able to understand the requirement and trying to offer him which he or she doesn't want it, that also sometimes leads to a good buy rather than a good buy. Because from the beginning only, we did not understand the requirement and we are trying to defeat a client that, no, I think you need this. So if we understand the requirement of the customer and then we work as a team to get them what they actually want, we always try and focus in terms of what exactly is the requirement of the client. You offer him that and you charge your agency fee, your fees, like Kunal said very rightly. You don't offer the discount out of 10, you offer in 9%, 9.5%, then you're anyways disappointed. And with the disappointed heart, you cannot be happy and your client can also not be happy, because then you're trying to defeat the client. Your boss, let me offer this and close it there. So it is very important that we understand first what is the requirement. We offer them a right product and a right deal, what they want. If your client is not inviting you for a cup of a tea and not, introducing you as a realtor to his friends and family, please consider it, it is a good buy. If he's calling you as a friend, as a realtor to your house, to his house when he enter and introduce you, then it's a good buy. Then it's a good buy. That's what I believe.
I personally believe that the service in a real estate business, especially if you're in the long-term real estate game, looking for a bigger picture, the service element begins actually post-sales. Now, how true is this statement?
From the association, I got the platform to interact with all kinds of and all strata of buyers. Now, gentlemen, I at no point of time considered myself or introduced myself as a broker or as anything. I always introduced myself as a facilitator because I am more into secondary market than into the primary. Secondary market, I had to analyze the need of the buyer. Primarily, we have to give our best, feel the need of the customer, help him in getting finance also. I give a package. Look, you need so much of finance, I will help you. So I personally feel if a facilitator, consultant or a realtor gets into this, he will generate customers and he will create market for himself.